Hey everyone, it's been an amazing week. I've personally experienced a lot of life change, and I'm going to recite Romans 8, which is really meaningful to me in my spiritual journey, and yeah. Therefore, there is now no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. For through Christ Jesus, the law of the Spirit of life has set me free from the law and sin and death. For what the law was powerless to do, and that it was weakened by the sinful nature, God did by sending his own Son in the likeness of sinful man as a sin offering. And so he condemned sin in sinful man in order that the righteous requirements of the law might be fully met in us. Those who live according to the sinful nature have their minds set on what that nature desires, but those who live according to the Spirit have their minds set on what the Spirit desires. Those controlled by the mind of a sinful man is death, but the mind controlled by the Spirit is life and peace. The sinful mind is hostile to God. It does not submit to God's law, nor can it do so. Those controlled by the sinful nature cannot please God. You, however, are controlled not by the sinful nature, but by the Spirit, if the Spirit of God is living in you. And if anyone does not have Christ in them, then they do not belong to Christ. But if Christ is in you, then your body is dead because of sin, but your spirit is alive because of righteousness. And if the Spirit of him who raised Jesus from the dead is living in you, then he who raised Christ from the dead will also give life to your mortal bodies through his Spirit who lives in you. Therefore, brothers and sisters, we have an obligation, but it is not to the sinful nature to live according to it. For if you live according to the sinful nature, you will die. But if by the Spirit you put to death the misdeeds of the body, you will live. Because those who are led by the Spirit of God are called children of God. For you did not receive a spirit that makes you a slave again to fear, but you received the spirit of sonship. And by him we cry, Abba, Father. The Spirit himself testifies with our spirit that we are children of God. And if we are children, then we are heirs, heirs of God and co-heirs with Christ, if indeed we share in his sufferings, in order that we may also share in his glory. I consider that our present sufferings are not worth comparing to the glory that will be revealed in us. The creation waits in eager expectation for the sons of God to be revealed. For the creation was subjected to frustration, not by its own choice, but by the will of the one who subjected it, and the hope that the creation will one day be liberated from its bondage to decay and brought into the glorious freedom of the children of God. We know that the whole creation has been groaning as in the pains of childbirth right up to the present time. Not only so, but we ourselves, who have the first fruits of the Spirit, groan inwardly as we wait eagerly for our adoption as sons, the redemption of our bodies. For it is in this hope we were saved. But hope that is seen is no hope at all. Who hopes for what he already has? But if we hope for what we do not yet have, then we wait for it patiently. In the same way, the Spirit helps us in our weakness. Though we do not know what we ought to pray for, the Spirit intercedes for us with groans that words cannot express. And he who searches our hearts knows the mind of the Spirit, for the Spirit intercedes for the saints in accordance with God's will. And we know that in all things, God works for the good of those who love him. Yeah. Who have been called according to his purpose. For those God foreknew, he also predestined to be conformed to the likeness of his Son. And those he predestined, he also called. Those he called, he also justified. And those he justified, he glorified. What then shall we say in response to this? If God is for us, then who could be against us? He did not spare his own Son, but willingly gave him up for us all. How will he not also graciously give us all things? Who is he that condemn? Who will bring any charge against those whom God has called? It is God who justifies. Who will bring any? Who is he that condemns? Christ Jesus, who died, more than that, was raised to life, is sitting at the right hand of God, and is also interceding for us. Who then shall separate us from the love of Christ? Shall trouble or hardship or persecution or famine or nakedness or danger or sword?
As it is written, for your sake we face death all day long. We are considered as sheep to be slaughtered.
No, in all these things we are more than conquerors through him who loved us. For I am convinced that neither angels nor demons, neither death nor life, neither the present nor the future, nor any powers, neither life nor death, neither anything in all creation can separate us from the love of God that is in Christ Jesus.